state welcomes historic U.S.-Cuba relations shift. President joins world leaders in condemning killing of students in Pakistan. A renowned local artist is given a Life Achievement Award, and the Command-in-Chief grants Joint Services members a bonus Christmas wish. We'll have the details of these and other presidential activities in this week's edition of the Diary for the period December 13 to December 19, 2014. I'm Paul McAdam. President Donald Ramotar has declared the shift in the United States of America's foreign policy towards Cuba as a victory for the Caribbean and Latin America. The latest move by the United States of America's President Barack Obama to move towards the establishment of formal relations with Cuba was welcomed by President Donald Ramotar. He described it as a major step forward in the right direction for the region.
Very few politicians had the courage to come out against this. Cheddi Jagan was one such person who, even though we were still a colony, broke the blockade, we traded with Cuba with rice and sugar and selling rice and timber. And it is the struggle of the PPP, generally, and with progressive forces in the Caribbean that eventually led to the recognition of the 4 Caribbean countries in 1972 in recognizing Cuba, that made a very big and important step towards breaking the isolation against Cuba in the Caribbean. So this is a very important step in the right direction.
Cuba and the United States must be congratulated for the steps being taken presently, the president said.
I would have said that myself that this is long overdue, but better late than never. They're coming at this point in time. However, it's important. It's important for the region too, because Cuba has contributed a great deal to the human resource development of this region. From all the countries of Latin America and the Caribbean, Cuba has assisted in helping to train people so that we can have the technical skills to manage within our society. And so this is a victory for the hemisphere, the whole Caribbean and South Latin America and the Caribbean as a whole.
The United States and Cuba have agreed to re-establish formal diplomatic relations and reopen economic and travel ties, marking a historic shift in U.S. policy towards a communist island after half a century of enmity dating back to the Cold War, American officials said. The announcement came amidst a series of sudden confidence-building measures between the longtime foes, including the release of American prisoner Alan Gross and a U.S. spy held in Cuba, and the freeing of 3 Cubans jailed in the U.S. CARICOM has consistently called for the economic blockade to be lifted and for the resumption of ties between the 2 nations. The killing of 148 students and teachers by the Pakistani Taliban has drawn harsh criticism internationally. President Ramotar has added his voice to those who are expressing outrage at the attack by the terrorist group on a school in Peshawar, Pakistan.
This is the most dastardly and heinous crime that has been committed against students. The depth of the extremism is unbelievable that is taking place. And this is a crime that against humanity, I would describe it as.
The president added that education is important to any country's social and economic development, and this must be understood.
And to attack people, students, because they're pursuing education is probably one of the most uncivilized type of thing to be done at this time.
Minister of Education Priya Manichan had also moved swiftly to condemn the killings which occurred on December 15. The government has invested millions of US dollars into the Guyana Power and Light Company. All of this in efforts to improve the system. Notwithstanding some of the challenges facing the GPL, some in the political opposition have called for the non-support of the entity, a move criticized by the head of state. Government is doing what it can to ease the burden on consumers, according to President Ramotar.
Annually, the government spends about $9 billion a year to subsidize electricity for people in the country. And therefore, I think it's needed that all responsible politicians, people who are responsible politicians, should recognize this and should do everything to discourage theft of electricity, which will be adding more pressure on the general, on the vast majority of people, because generally government has to find the money to pay in the form of subsidy when these things take place, which would be reducing services in other essential areas. And this is a problem that I think could be cured if all of us work together.
The Prime Minister recently called out a senior member of the political opposition for his comments on the power company. The stance taken by the Prime Minister was supported by the President.
So I fully support the PM's position that the PM has taken in this regard to call on the opposition forces, instead of making the kind of statements that they are making, to join government in this call to prevent some of these illegal type of activities from continuing.
This week saw the Ghana Power and Light Company commissioning the latest in a series of substations at North Rheinveld, Georgetown as part of its infrastructure development project. It was pointed out that this is a key part of the power company's preparations for the Amalia Falls hydropower project. President Ramotar reiterated the central role that the Amalia Falls hydropower project will play in the country's development. Government is moving closer to making the Amalia Falls hydropower project a reality.
We are moving ahead to seek another partner, and that talks have advanced fairly quickly, and we are working with other partners to try to ensure that we get the Amalia Falls project back on track.
Government intended to make the transformational project a reality because of its importance to the local economy's development, the President explained.
The biggest constraints we have is the whole issue of cheap energy in our society, and this is why Amaila is so important. If we had had Amaila, our economic growth rate could have been far bigger, far greater, and our production, our productivity, our employment level for young people, because we would have stimulated manufacturing and etc., and we would have had a far better situation.
It is estimated that some $90 billion Ghana dollars will be saved annually once the Amalia Falls hydropower project becomes operational. The contributions of renowned Guyanese artist Stanley Greaves were recognized with the presentation of a Lifetime Achievement Award at the second biennial Visual Arts and Competition Awards ceremony. The event, which was organized by the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture, was held at the National Cultural Center under the patronage of President Ramotar.
Let me extend hearty congratulations and thank you to Mr. Stanley Greaves for his long and outstanding contribution to Guyana in the fields of art and education. Stanley has given us many beautiful and provoking images over the years, and I hope that this will continue for many years to come. Let me also extend a warm welcome to Mr. Carl Hazelwood, the Chief Judge, who has traveled from North America to judge this competition. We thank you very much.
The President observed that whilst he is an economist by training and economic values can be assigned to the paintings or sculptures, this does not begin to measure its value to human development.
What makes a person a good or great artist is his or her ability to capture ideas, imagination, issues, emotions, and need that are in all of us, and to give them back to us in visible form.
The President indicated that it is also necessary to have exhibitions and competitions, since these encourage artists to excel.
Such exhibitions and competitions attract the attention of the nation, and they make us realize what a wealth of talent we have. In celebrating the winners of this competition, we are upholding, promoting, and applauding the best values of our art. Keeping this channel of thinking alive and open is very important to us, because in a global economy such as we live in today, it is easy for native cultural forms to either become marginalized, transform, or even go extinct. This desire for self-expression and this creativity, which we celebrate this evening, must therefore be kept alive, because it is through this that we can keep a genuine expression of Guyana alive.
The Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Dr. Frank Anthony, gave some insight into the reasons for organizing the premier art competition locally.
For many years, we did not have a national visual arts competition, and many of the experts felt that this was hindering the growth and development of art in Guyana. They felt that we needed to have a competition where the best talent can be put on show, where established and emerging artists can share the same space and compete and be recognized for the quality, creativity, and originality of their work. They felt that such a competition, if financed, would be uplifting to the development of the arts in Guyana. When this matter was first raised with His Excellency President Donald Ramotar, he readily agreed that we should establish the Guyana Visual Arts Competition and Exhibition. And within the short period since its establishment, the competition has become the premier art competition in Guyana and one of the few such competitions in the Caribbean.
The minister also thanked all of those who made the event a success, especially the judges and the more than 230 artists who submitted their works.
Some people still question, why are we investing in art? Well, a simple answer is that it makes us into better human beings, and it creates the condition for a creative and more humane society. The writer Blake Morrison, when asked the question, what can art do? He replied, art can do many things. It can entertain, instruct, console, inspire, enrage, transform. It teaches us things that we cannot be taught in any other way, and makes us see things we wouldn't have otherwise seen. It allows us the illusion of escaping our daily lives while simultaneously taking us deeper into ourselves. I am sure that the art that was created for this competition and exhibition will certainly cause us to experience many of the things that Mr. Morrison spoke about.
Following the presentation of prizes to the winners in the various categories, an exhibition of the winning pieces was formally declared open by the President at Castellani House. You're watching The Diary, where we have been recapping the highlights of the country's President's weekly activities. More after the break.
Pensioners will enjoy a 50% increase in assistance, bringing it to $30,000 per annum for pensioners who are customers of the Guyana Power and Light Company Incorporated. Further, old age pension is to be increased by 5% with effect from May 1, 2014 to $13,125 monthly, targeting the 42,500 senior citizens.
In an effort to respond more promptly to citizens, the Home Affairs Ministry has launched an online crime reporting system which allows citizens who possess or have access to cell phones, computers, or other devices with internet connections to report criminal activities. Citizens can get instant access to security personnel on BlackBerry Messenger via 280-4E429. Reports of corruption can also be made on www.ipaidbribe.com. These reports can be made anonymously. Guyana is set to achieve the goal set by the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF of universal birth registration by 2015. The General Register Office has launched an intensive campaign. It has decentralized its services to specifically cater to the needs of residents living in the interior location. Bedside registration is also done in several public hospitals. There are now 200 registration centers operating in the 10 regions. Citizens are urged to ensure that all births are registered. The flagship air carrier of Curaçao, Insular Air, has expanded its flights to and from Guyana. This was formally conveyed to President Ramotar when he met with senior company officials, including the Director of International Affairs, Edward Hirivrine, at the Presidential Complex on December 18. The airline officials, accompanied by Public Works Minister Robeson Ben and Tourism Minister Acting Irfan Ali updated the president on the company's plans, which will see twice-weekly flights being offered from Guyana to Curacao, in addition to the 2 already scheduled flights to Aruba. Incel Air's inaugural direct flight between Curacao and Guyana arrived at the Cheddi Jagan Airport and Temeri the same evening. Meanwhile, meetings were also held with Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy. He was appraised of the airline's plans to ship fresh fruit and vegetables to Curacao and Aruba, where hotels will purchase them. This move was welcomed by the minister, who said it offers new markets for local farmers and producers. The airline currently offers connecting flights to 21 destinations from Curacao and Aruba to North America, Europe, and Asia. The airline is preparing to launch 2 flights weekly between Aruba and Manaus in Brazil, commencing in January of 2015. The Commander-in-Chief gave a well-deserved Christmas bonus to members of the joint services. The men and women who serve the nation's joint services are to receive an extra 1-month salary in December. This was announced by President Donald Ramotar as he addressed hundreds of soldiers at Camp Stevenson, Temeri, when they participated in their annual Christmas Soldiers Luncheon.
To give you an extra month salary for you and your family to enjoy a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Mention was made of the fact that training is more than just about being physically fit, as he welcomed the news that ranks were embarking on more training courses to equip themselves with various skills.
And we have a lot of very skilled people here, strongly technical people, skilled in different type of discipline. And therefore, it seems to me, it will be a waste of resources if we do not use those resources to strengthen other areas in our security sector. And that cooperation, therefore, becomes extremely important. And you need to understand this. You need to grasp this, that this is part of the whole general trust of securing our nation so that we can develop and move forward.
In concluding his address to the officers and other ranks, President Ramotar, who was also the Commander-in-Chief, urged them to continue to uphold the good name of the Guyana Defense Force.
I know from time to time we have some whose behavior tend to soil the name of this organization. But those are by far a minute group. But all of us must do our part to remember that our job is to serve, that we have the big responsibility to provide services for our people and for our country to develop. And it is in service that we will bring glory to the name of this organization. Once more, a Merry Christmas on behalf of my family, on behalf of the government. I want to express to you and your families a Merry Christmas and a prosperous and victorious 2015.
A brief overview of the GDF's activities for 2014 was given by Chief of Staff Brigadier Mark Phillips.
Base Camp Stevenson is our main training base and our main operations staging base. It is from here we command and control our troops on our frontiers. In 2014, we had a good year for the GDF. We have trained hard and conducted more courses in 2014 than in some of the previous years. We have done more patrols to our frontier region than in many years gone by. And more significant, our women soldiers are now involved on those patrols. Big round of applause to them. Also in 2014, we have flown many missions with our fixed and rotary wing aircraft, and we've managed to keep our Skyvan flying throughout this Christmas season, saving the Guyana Defense Force some $20 million in flights that normally we would have had to pay to the civilian or private sector airlines if the Skyvan was not working. So special round of applause to Air Corps. And likewise yesterday, I had to recognize the Coast Guard because they've managed to keep our flagship, the GDFS Essequibo, sailing, and we've conducted many EZ patrols in 2014.
He added that the achievements made were based on the commitment to do the best that they could with what they had.
We are the People's Army. We're here for the people of Guyana. We're here to work under your command, your strategic direction, Your Excellency, in a multi-agency approach with the Guyana Police Force, with the Guyana Prison Service, with the Guyana Fire Service, and with all the law enforcement and regulatory agencies in Guyana. On behalf of the officers and men of the Guyana Defense Force, we wish you, Your Excellency, our First Lady, Diolachmi, and your family, your cabinet, your government, a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2015. 2015, as we know, is an election year in our country, and I wish to assure you of our commitment to defense and security of Guyana.
The Commander-in-Chief then joined senior officers in sharing meals to the junior ranks. He then had a meal with the youngest ranks from each unit. The other ranks also took the opportunity to interact with the President. The President shared his plans for the coming season. As Guyanese joined the rest of the world to celebrate the festive season, President Donald Ramata revealed his plans for the coming Christmas holidays.
I will try to attend some of the, I have a lot of invitations after, and I will try to attend some of these responding to the people. Christmas Day, I tend to spend Christmas Day with my family, not only my immediate family, but my extended family. And I tend to have a good time. A lot of people come there from my old village, California. We live in town now, we will get together, we will talk, we will reminisce, and we will have some good food and drinks and so on and so forth. But that's really how I've been spending my Christmas, probably all my life, like Christmas is spent at home.
On behalf of all the staff of the Government Information Agency, I'd like to take the opportunity to extend season's greetings to all of our viewers. That's all in this week's diary for the period December 13 to December 19, 2014. Before we go, these were some of the highlights. Head of State welcomes historic U.S.-Cuba relations shift. President joins world leaders in condemning the killing of students in Pakistan. A renowned local artist is given a Lifetime Achievement Award. And the Commander-in-Chief grants Joint Services members a bonus Christmas wish. Do join us again for the next program when we will bring you more of the President's activities. I'm Paul McAdam, thanking you for watching. For more information, contact us via email or visit our website.